everyone. What's up, gamers? We are back for another D League podcast episode. We're on week 16. I believe it's episode 16 now, firmly in the playoffs. So the first week of the playoffs just passed us by. We had some good, we had some bad, we had some terrible, we had some Cooper Cup, whatever the hell that was. Yeah, and that's what we're going to be getting into today. Just a quick note for non-fantasy stuff. It's a cyclone state, so the goddamn clones went in and beat the shit out of Iowa. That was pretty cathartic. That's both in football and basketball now that the Hawkeyes have given up a 13-point lead and ended up eating it. So that feels really good. The Iowa State women's, I think, suck ass, even though they were a top 10 preseason team, but can't have everything. Can't have everything all at once. So that was pretty sick. I wasn't able to watch most of the game, I don't think. I think I was doing something else. Maybe I was just too nervous. But I did watch the replay like an hour after the game happened, so that was pretty fun. Also Iowa State related, the Pop-Tart Bowl. This is actually a pretty sick bowl to be in. The Pop-Tart Bowl is pretty hilarious and great. It does look like Miami's going to be without two of their top wide receivers. Well, one for sure, the other one potentially, but it's still Cam Ward, and Cam Ward is like a Heisman finalist. So it could be rough going, especially if some of our defenders that were injured for most of the year decided to just go to the NFL instead of, helping out the alma mater that gave them a fucking degree and money and time and effort. So we'll see. I probably won't watch it. Who cares? It's not a title game. It's just another trash bowl game. But on to NFL stuff, on to fantasy stuff. The first thing I need to make a note of is if anyone has Red Zone, Scott Hansen betrayed us. The NFL has got its greedy paws in fucking absolutely everything. The word of the year was Enshittification, and that trickles down to absolutely everything we hold dear. Fucking NFL Red Zone had 2 times where it went to a double box, and the double box was a fucking commercial, and they cut the audio to the actual game to the audio for the fucking commercial. If you have NFL Red Zone, if you have YouTube TV or cable or whatever you pay for it, fucking cancel it immediately. There's plenty of websites out there to go and just pirate it. Don't worry about it. Sail the 7 seas like I'm going to. My brother-in-law and I just fucking canceled YouTube TV because there was going to be a price increase, and then Red Zone goes and does that. We're out, buddy. Vote with your wallet, people. Stop being fucking sheep and letting the NFL and YouTube get away with it. Like this, they basically have a monopoly now. We got rid of cable to now just go back to more expensive cable. Like, this is fucking stupid. Really sad day. It was a dark day, honestly. I mean, I was almost speechless, man. Just betrayal of the highest form. Right. So yeah, pirate everything. Goose usually knows good sites to use. There's usually some on Reddit on our piracy. Just go find a way to get it for free. The NFL deserves nothing. All right, on to fantasy stuff. So Guggenheim. Oh, I keep trying to go forward, but I know people care about my life a lot. So I did go back to Lawton. I went back to Lawton to say goodbye to the house that we lived in for 30 years, or my parents owned for 30 years, 29 years. Yeah, I went back on. I was gonna go back on Sunday, but there was a bunch of ice rain, and I was extremely hungover from a Christmas party we went to on Saturday. So I ended up going back on Monday and then coming back Tuesday. So it was a short trip, but going back to the house and seeing everything packed up, all the empty rooms, all my like the rooms still have wallpaper from when I was a baby, and well, not baby, but 5 years old. My little handprints are still in the cement. Uh, uh, Not as many like pictures and stuff and like mementos that I thought there would be. I think most of that we've gotten rid of over the years because like I don't need a fucking sweatshirt from when I weighed 120 pounds. Um, but yeah, it was rough. And then when I left on Tuesday, there was like this vision of me backing out of the driveway, and my dad was in the garage, like piling boxes into the back of the truck with his back to me, and it was just like, well, goodbye, Lawton, goodbye, Birch Street. So I was sad, and I also spent 10 hours in the car over the course of 24 hours, so that sucked ass. But I did get to have a couple of my old high school buddies come over for the Vikings game, some whiskey, a couple beers, which was nice. It was good to have, more than just me and dad at the house for the first time in a while. Have some sound actually go through the place. So yeah, it's gonna be weird. I guess for my like 20-year anniversary of high school, probably the next time I go back to Lawton, I would suppose. It'll be pretty strange, but I won't miss the drive. That's for sure. That fucking blows. I also hit a blizzard on my way back. All right, so yeah, that was rough, fantasy wise. So my reward for most points in Guggenheim, getting the second seed, having literally the best team in the league, is Montgomery going to IR before I play a fucking playoff game, and having my absolute two best players in Jaden Reed and Terry McLaurin going up against the absolute worst matchups for their two positions. Last time Terry McLaurin played the Eagles, he scored 1 point. That cornerback that he has to go up against gives, I think, like 10, 15 yards a game to opposing wide receivers. And then Jaden Daniels had like his worst game of the season. He got like a miracle last minute touchdown to some nobody in order to salvage his day. And so that's what I get in the first, in the semis. It's going to be rough. I don't know who to start. Like Terry McLaurin is having an absolutely incredible season, his best by far, and I don't think I can put him in my lineup. Like that guy's just going to shut him down, or I'm going to do like when he played the Titans and they were the number 2 defense. I sit him and then he goes off for 25. Like I'm scared. I'm in my own head about it. I don't have a running back 2 now. I think I'm gonna go with like fucking Craig Reynolds. I guess fucking. I've been trying to find another RB2 for weeks now, and everybody has just scooped up all the RBs like Kendre Miller and Tajay Spears and Kareem Hunt. Anybody really? They've been Jerome Ford. I had Jerome Ford like 2 months ago, but they've been long gone. So I guess I'm gonna go Craig Reynolds season. Even Gus Edwards, like I thought maybe I'd get some solid starts out of Gus, but he has absolutely atrocious matchups, especially this week going against Denver. So can't trust anybody. I'm you know, had overall points scored in Guggenheim, and I'm a fucking 10-point underdog this week. That's how bad Montgomery going down was for me and the matchups I have for my best players. It's going to be bad. So yeah, I do play Tanner. He took down Zacher, unfortunately. So we will have to wait on a Corsairs jersey. I don't think Tanner has a franchise, and he doesn't listen to the pod. So pretty sad day in the Guggenheim. Zacher did start Darnold, the geek bus, unfortunately over Baker Mayfield, who would have won him the match. So that's pretty rough. I know Chicago's a pretty shit team, but their defense has been pretty solid against pretty much everybody but running backs. So he at least got you 13 points, so he didn't zero you, but yeah, that was rough. He did have Justin Jefferson drop a walk-in touchdown, which would have been about a 30-yarder, and then on the following play threw a pick. So that's like a 7-ish point swing there, which would not have won the matchup, unfortunately, but still was pretty painful. But yeah, Zachary, he started Darnold, and then he also had a lot of people were kind of penciling in Sincere McCormick as somebody who could kind of like get you to the promised land just randomly. And nope, he went out in the second quarter and went on IR immediately. So it was a good play, Zachary. You had all the right ideas, but fantasy is brutal. And yeah, you go down always next year. On the other side of the bracket, Tyler Cum takes out Podwords. So Podwords now, that's year 3 in Guggenheim, and is not. We're not going to get a He Hate Me jersey, unfortunately. I don't think Cum has a jersey either, although I can think of a couple ideas that would be pretty funny. But yeah, right now it's everybody. I'm the only one who has a jersey, so there's a very, very good chance because I'm picking Tanner to beat me. That it's going to be a first-time title winner at a Guggenheim, and I think that works. That works for me. I would rather stay in Herman or in Guggenheim and just rack up points for and wins instead of going to a lower league and having that sort of variance where a random bot team will just unload all their good players to somebody else and then run away with it. All right, on to Herman German. The Elliott dream dies. Zach Elliott made a couple trades that fucking shot him right up in the playoffs at 9-5, but the dream dies. He got smacked around by Logan Wood, who had Devontae Adams. So now we have a little wood on wood action on that side of the bracket. It'll be Tim Wood versus Logan Wood in the semifinal, the semi-wood, as they might say. A little semi-wood, a little chub. Does that work? There's just booze ringing out across the internet. On the other side, Vormazil. Vormazil survived. Stumbo, who had 36 from Lamar Jackson, the number 1 QB on the year, actually. I think people think it's probably Josh Allen because the last 2 weeks Josh Allen has been fucking insane, but Lamar is having another MVP season, basically. But unfortunately, Stumbo started Debo, who is as washed as my butt. The guy is absolute trash. He tweeted last week, nothing wrong. I'm just not getting the ball. And then Purdy threw him the ball like 8 times and he fucking dropped it half of the time. He had like 2 points. Could not happen to a better guy. He is a running back and he's a bad running back in a wide receiver's position. So hopefully he's out of the league soon. We're sick of Debo. Can't break tackles. He's fat and slow and old and can't catch now. So we're good. Anyway, so the winner now, that's Mark Vormazil. He'll take on Benda. Benda's in the same boat I am. We both had Montgomery. That'll kind of be a common occurrence with a few of these teams. All of us riding, an absolutely excellent running back on an incredible offense to the promised land, and then getting that ripped out from under us. So as a reminder, Benda was the overall point scorer in all leagues. He is currently like a 15-point underdog to Mark. Now that Montgomery went down, I think he's starting. Let's go look at old Herman German here. Who is his RB2? Oh, he's a 2-point underdog now. He must have made some moves. He's starting Kareem Hunt. Could be worse. He's at least splitting carries with Pacheco, but in the last 3 weeks, he's averaged about 4 points a game. Not something you want to see, but he's got the horses to do it. He's got Darnold, Kareem Hunt, Kyren Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown is incredible. Nico. I also have Nico. DK Metcalf, Brock Bowers, the number 1 tight end of the year, I believe. Yep. Bowers is awesome. And Cortland Sutton's having a great year. Like, he's the number 1 point scorer for a reason, folks. We need to remember that, although he is an underdog. So my pick there is it's going to be Tim Wood on one side. And I think Benda on the other. So I'm going to go chalk here the seeds. So 1 and 2 seed playing each other. All right, what do we got? Blipto. Blipto, we have. Could this be T-Shan's year? He fucking annihilated Shugart by about 70. T-Shan has Bo Nix. If you podcast listener, I told you to Bo Nix has been pretty damn good. He's a number 9 QB on the year as a rookie. It's pretty impressive. He has been a little slow lately, 14 and 16 points, but I think he's got a pretty solid cast around him. He's got Devon Achane, Brian Robinson, Big Hat, who's missed some games, but when he plays has been a beast. Jamar Chase, I mean, number 1 wide receiver in all of fantasy, pretty fucking sick. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. Mike Evans and Adams both combined for 70 points last week. They both have fucking awesome matchups too. The Rams are terrible, and so is Dallas. So, whoo, baby, he could be looking pretty nice. He's got T.J. Hawkinson, who has been not. He's only had 2 double-digit games since coming back from the ACL tear. So this might be the year before the year that you want to get Hawkinson. But he's flexing Jonathan Taylor, which Jonathan Taylor, what a fucking embarrassment. If you missed it last week, if anybody, I don't think this happened to anybody, but he had about an 8-point swing on a play where he was going to run in with a 40-yard touchdown and drop the ball at the 1-yard line for a touchback. So it was a fumble and a fucking non-touchdown. 8-point swing right there. The fact that this keeps happening is truly flabbergasting. There's nothing cool really about like, oh, I'm just waltzing in the end zone. It's you're not cool. Going to school is cool. You're not too cool for school, Jonathan. Just hang on to the fucking ball, you idiot. But yeah, I mean, they were going to go up 20-7 on Denver, and then that game just completely flipped, and they ended up getting blown out. So blame Jonathan Taylor for that one. That was fucking terrible. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good squad. He has Charbonnet in case Walker misses, but now Charbonnet has an oblique injury. What the fuck? I don't know. Everyone's getting injured now. Yeah. I like it. He's a 20-point favorite over Jim Hell's Num Nums, and I believe that. I'm going Tishan. What's the other side of the bracket here? We got Crispin taking down Vos by about 50. And it's going to be Conrad versus Crispin. Crispin's my pick to win this league, so I'm taking Crispin, of course. I did have a note. I think one of these guys has Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill had a very strange. Oh, well, the reason that T-Shan is a favorite here over Jim Helt's Num Nums is because currently Jim Helt does not have a quarterback. Certainly doesn't help. He has Derek Carr, who's doubtful and definitely not going to play. Anyway, what was I going to say about the? Oh, Tyreek. Somebody has Tyreek. Maybe not in this one. Anyway, in case you're not on X.com, the Everything app, everything's happening over on X. Tyreek tweeted, "Time for me to go, coach." So there's a few things this could reference. It could be he's frustrated with Mike McDaniel. It could also mean that he wants to go coach somewhere because Teddy Bridgewater just won a title game at his alma mater. But I don't think that's it because Tyreek also sat out practice today. I mean, it is Wednesday, so it's like a Veterans Day, but a pretty strange tweet, especially since Tyreek is having his worst season in like a decade. So if you have Tyreek, I'd be worried about that. Maybe something to monitor. All right. Let's go to Peters Cuervo. I love this league so much. Rod. We thought it was going to be Rod, but Rod had an all-time terrible fucking week last week. He started out Thursday with a 0 from Cooper Kupp. I think there was a lot of us that got. I have Cooper Kupp and had a bye, luckily, but everybody else who did not have a bye had to eat and look at a 0 from Cooper Kupp for 3 days. He had Jameis Winston get him 2 points, which is surprising because he had 3 interceptions. Reminder: one of the rule changes we need to make is that interception should be -2, not -1. It makes absolutely no sense that that turnover is -1. Not John Tracy. Tyrone Tracy got injured and had 4 points. Cooper Kupp was 0. Brock Bowers only had 5. I guess not all time, but he scored 76 and his projection was about 115. So he vastly underperformed his projections and he lost to the bot team. Jameson's zombie team of Lamar and Zach Charbonnet and Jonathan Taylor. Jalen Waddle was 0. Fucking 2 tight ends, no kicker. He lost by like 30 points to the bot team. So Jameson's bot team is going into the semifinals. Love that. Versus Shimmick. Shimmick's about a 20-point favorite, which I think makes sense. And then on the other side of the bracket, we had TJ beating out Pentech by 1 point. And now faces John Tracy, who's scored 147. John Tracy on his bye would have beaten absolutely everybody in Peters Cuervo. So Tracy's still got a really good team, and I think it's going to be Tracy and the bot team. Sorry, Shimmick. I just think it would be way too fucking funny for the bot team to run the table and just win. What do we do, Jameson, if the bot team wins? Like, nobody moves up, I would assume? That would be so funny. Everybody's just stuck in hell in Peters Cuervo because a robot team won it. All right, on to Newhall. We got Skelt. Skelt, my pick to win the league. Luckily, thanks for the reminder, Skelt. Annihilated Teeds by about 40. Actually, almost exactly 40. He had McLaurin and Daniels stack. That's a nice little like 50-pointer. And then Devontae Adams with 38. Johnny Smith has been so fucking good. I'm actually surprised that Johnny was only the number 4 tight end because the last month, at 5 weeks he's had, have been just insane. He's basically carrying me in my guillotine league. And then Garrett Wilson and the Atlanta defense, and then of course Chris Boswell, absolute beast. Yeah, so 163 to 123. Skelt moves on. Love it. Love to see it. On the other side, we had Ward. Ward, the he was the 9th best team, 9th according to record. He beats Masker, who was the 3rd seed. So Ward takes out Masker by about 20 points. And now he takes on Juice, the number 2 seed. I know this is absolutely infuriating to Brady, who would rather see people with lucky schedules move on rather than people who are actually good at the game. But I'm going to take Ward. I'm going to take Ward to go all the way because he does have basically the best team outside of Tom. I'm going to take Ward to take down Juice, and it'll be Tom and Ward in the finals. No doubt about it. I think he is favored by 1 point to Juice, too. Yeah, 1.5. And Tom, or no, sorry. Okay, it was going to be Ward and Skelt. I got to stick with my original prediction, right? I can't just pivot over to Tom. I think it's going to be Skelt and Ward in the finals for Newhall. So that'll be sick. Let's go on to Old Hall. Prier texted me, was it super late last night or super early in the morning? Not even super late. I was asleep by 9:30, so my bad. He said, how's that for crap in the bed in the playoffs? He had Derrick Henry with 6, David Montgomery with 5, Cooper Kupp with 0, Mike Evans with 32. That's pretty good. Jameson Williams 11, Johnny Smith 15, but Nick Chubb with 2. So he lost both Chubb and Montgomery in the same week. Derrick Henry was terrible, and then Cooper Kupp got him 0. So I mean that's an ultimate just choke job by a very good team. Interestingly enough, there's only one team, I think it's Tom, who has Derrick Henry that's going to be in the semifinals. You'd think with the year that Derrick Henry has had, that he would be much more well represented. But the December Derrick Henry to remember has just not fucking come to fruition. I don't know what he was doing. The Ravens played the Giants, who are absolutely terrible, and for some reason they just had Lamar Jackson throw 5 touchdowns. That's kind of greedy, honestly. Are you trying to give him the MVP? It's Josh Allen's. Like, there's no chance that Lamar takes Josh Allen from now. Like, it's over. That's kind of mean to all you Derrick Henry owners. So yeah, Prayer, absolute disaster. Josh Renner takes down Corey, and now he takes on Sully. And I was surprised to see this. I need to look into the matchup a little bit more. But currently, Sling Cigaro has the most points projected at 131. He's projected to absolutely wipe the floor with Sully. And that's pretty shocking to me. Let's go through the list here. We got Kyler Murray. So I'll say Josh Renner's squad first and then Sully second. We'll go Kyler Murray versus Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow has been phenomenal. Jahmyr Gibbs versus Pacheco. I would easily give that to Gibbs. But here's the thing. Now, Gibbs without Montgomery has been very, very good, but they still do give a lot of work to the other running backs. So them jumping Gibbs from like an average of 13 to 14 points to suddenly 20, I don't know. Oh, he is the number 3 running back on the year. That's insane, dude. I don't know. It could be a little bit closer split than people think. At least I hope. It's Chase Brown versus Devon Achane. It's a number 11 running back versus 8. I think that's pretty even. Garrett Wilson versus Nico Collins. Garrett is number 9 wide receiver in the year, but Nico missed 6 weeks, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And I love Nico Collins, so I think I would give that to Nico. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf fucking blows. He's 35th wide receiver, absolute nothing burger. He's JSN's little brother, so that's easy. Amon-Ra. George Pickens, if he's back, but he didn't practice, so that might be a 0 versus Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is awesome. Brenton Strange. Okay, I didn't even know Evan Ingram was out, so this is a savvy move by the vet Sully. Versus Brock Bowers, I gotta give it to Brock, especially since Brock is playing Jacksonville and their defense is 0. And then Jared Cook versus Ridley, that's James Cook. That's James Cook. Dicker versus McManus, that's even. Tampa Bay versus Cincinnati. I think I'm going to go Tampa Bay. I think they have an actually decent defense. And I think the last week for Cincinnati was an outlier. That was a Will Levis game, and you don't get those every week. So it's going to be tight, but I'm picking Sully. You don't pick against the master. Even though I did pick Josh Renner to win the whole league, I think it ends here. And you might call that bootlicking, but I would argue that I'm just picking based on skill and knowledge and vibes. Really anything you can think of. It probably leans Sully. All right, on to presidents. We had Knust taking out 3-time champ Bogey. Thank fucking God we don't need a 4-time champ in our midst. Just racking up dubs against the absolute bottom of the barrel up in presidents. So it'll be Knust versus Hanks, right? Bracket here. Yeah, Hanks overall best team in presidents versus Knust, who's about 100 points back on the year. And if they had played over Hanks's bye, Hanks still would have been the number 1 scorer, actually outside of Jeff, who was in the lower bracket. Hanks still would have wiped the floor with everybody in the playoffs. So I got to go Hanks here. His team's pretty goddamn stacked. He has Josh Allen, who has an absolutely phenomenal rest of season schedule and has just scored 93 points in the last 2 weeks. I don't see that slowing down. The guy's insane. Ken Walker still isn't practicing. That's a pretty big problem. DeAndre Swift has what I thought was going to be a bad stretch, but now Detroit doesn't have any defenders left. So Swift could be pretty good. Justin Jefferson's obviously amazing. Drake London's great. Jaron Reed, very boom or bust, but you want a boom in the Yoffs. Trey McBride, I love Trey McBride. He's a beast. Oh, and Jonnu Smith. So Hanks over here, hang on to a guy who's on IR in Jonathan Brooks for no reason. He's rolling out the two tight end set. Both these guys are averaging about 13 points a game over the last couple weeks. So hey, it makes sense to me. And then on the flip side, we have Canoosed, where a lot of this could flip depending on. So Isaac Rendo's he's not practicing, but it's Wednesday. He could miss. Mixon is going to play. Stafford's good. Romeo Doubs is good. Jamar Chase is obviously the number one wide receiver in fantasy. Dalton Kincaid, fine. But Charbonnet, like this whole thing could flip with two things happening: Garendo not playing, or Ken Walker not playing. Because if you flip those, oh baby, suddenly you got a Canoosed who's ripe for taking down the number one team here. He does have both Etienne and Bigsby. And Kamara is currently out with a groin injury. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of injuries that we got to monitor here because, Grenda doesn't play. Fucking Walker does play. Kamara doesn't play. He could be rough in the RB space. So I'm definitely intrigued here. I'll be monitoring this practice report closely, as a ball knower would. For now, I'm going with Hanks, assuming everybody's healthy. And then on to Jameson. So Jameson, oh my God, the absolute closest matchup of the week. Jameson takes down Bianchi. Bianchi's one of the few people who did lose with Devontae Adams' lineup. So Jameson won 130.64 to 130.36. It was Sam Darnold versus Kyler Murray. It was Chase Brown versus James Conner. Achane versus Hubbard. I mean, thank fucking God Hubbard had Carolina in general had a bad week. If Bryce Young doesn't turn the ball over 5 times, then Hubbard could have stolen Jameson's hopes and dreams. Tyreek Hill had a terrible game, and then obviously had that weird cryptic tweet versus Jameson's Mike Evans. CeeDee Lamb was excellent. Jackson Smith and Jigga was pretty good. Christian Watson versus Devontae Adams. I mean, that's a 30-point swing in Adams' favor. Jameson lost Montgomery, but luckily Pollard got injured, or it was just such a massive blowout that they switched to Tajay Spears. I mean, a lot had to go right for Jameson to win this. The Chargers had the absolute worst defensive performance they've had all year versus Tampa Bay. Only had 2 points instead of their normal, 6 or 7. Actually, no, their defense has been really fucking bad in the last 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 weeks. They've been awful. So it was a tight matchup. Went Jameson's way, and now he gets Ta. He's currently favored against Ta. Pretty surprising to me. And I can't pick against Blood anymore. So despite Ta having a pretty great team other than Amari Cooper, who also had a 0. A game in which the Bills put up 48 points. Amari Cooper didn't have a single target. That's fucking. Why did you go and get this guy? I guess he was just a fucking decoy the whole time. It's pretty confusing. Anyway, I can't pick against Blood, so in my pick to win the whole league, Jay Long bowed out fucking 2 months ago. So we'll go Jameson. Why not? Hanks and Jameson. So to recap, yeah, Presidents is I'm thinking the finals will be Hanks and Jameson. Old Hall will be Sully and Ward. No. What? Oh my god, I didn't even talk about Logan and Alex Nelson. My bad. The other side of the playoff bracket in Old Hall is Nelson beating Preer. That's what I talked about, Preer, but not Nelson. Nelson put up 150. Excellent effort. He now gets number 1 overall seed, Logan. I think I'm going Nelson here because Logan already has a jersey or two, and I would like to see a new one. New Hall, I'm going to go Ward and Skelt. We got Peters Cuervo. I'm going to go the bot team versus Tracy. I'm going to go Blipto, Tishan versus, I don't know why I didn't write this one down. I'm going to go Crispin versus Tishan. Herman German, we are going to go Tim Wood versus Benda. And then in Guggenheim, I'm going to go Tanner versus Langton. So you can quote me on that. That's all I got to say about that. Now, there are some new Flesh and Blood cards that have been released and are available to be played online. And I'm going to go do that. Best of luck, everyone. Except you, Tanner. Fuck you.